Okay, welcome everyone to the episode of the In the Hot Seat podcast. And with this episode, I do have a very special guest joining me this time, as you can see. And this is something that we've been working on for a while now, and having a movie review this time with Fighting with My Family. I done this a while back on my main channel, so I wanted to do a more full length review on this. So I have Tati with me, and I'm going to actually have you introduce yourself and how you doing.
Hey, what's up? I am Tati. I review professional wrestling, anything from shows to movies, anything that's related to wrestling, I talk about on my channel. So I'm happy to come here on Daphne's channel and review this movie. This was a really great movie.
Yes, I actually ended up watching this for like the second time, as we mentioned beforehand. I don't know how many times you watched it beforehand.
Well, I've only watched it twice. So before you
Mhm.
asked me, I only saw it one time, but that was a while back. But watching it the second time was definitely different. I think I related to some more things this time. So
Yeah.
from an emotional standpoint, it was different this time for me.
Yeah, but I think we'll get right down into it. This is definitely my favorite movies. I feel like it's a very easy movie to review. I
Mhm.
guess I'll go right basically into the beginning, obviously. Starting off with Paige at the time, being with her family, obviously, and getting into not just wrestling because her brother was watching first, and then she actually wanted to watch Charmed, and Charmed actually plays a very big role in this. So I wanted to get your thoughts on like role for the wrestling name and for Charmed as a whole.
Right, right. Right. So actually, I was really surprised about that because I actually did not know that until I saw the movie.
Yeah.
I grew up watching Charmed and I absolutely loved that show. My favorite character on there was actually Piper, not Paige. But
Hmm.
when she said that, I was like, whoa, that gave her even more cool points for me since that was something that I really enjoyed growing up watching.
Yeah, same. I mean, I like the Charms. I've watched every single episode. Actually, Paige is my favorite, so that helps me out and everything. So that's
Hmm.
something I didn't realize at the time rewatching that. So that was really cool. I was really happy that she was able to have her be inspired by her name and everything, and that's what her name
Right.
is about. Then we basically fast forward and dealing like waiting for the call and everything, and dealing with not just with pro wrestling from the indies, with their family dealing with their own indie promotion and getting into that, and how much of it was a struggle for that. What are your thoughts on that?
I like that they actually showed how they struggle to, have a wrestling promotion. It really shows that, everyone's so used to seeing the big promotions on TV and they don't look like they're normally struggling. But we don't get a chance to see the smaller promotions and how difficult it could be to, have your own promotion and you also have your own family. And a lot of times, most promotions, they don't make it past a couple of years, but they were able to, make it through those difficult times. And I thought that was a really interesting thing that they put in this movie to show that Soraya, she didn't just get to where she was like it was handed to her. She struggled before she got to where she was. So I like that they put that in the movie.
Yeah, it was really cool to see that part. I mean, I heard about like them like owning a promotion and stuff like that. Just to actually
Mhm.
see like her struggle and everything, just to actually get the call. That's really cool how to see that process and to see her family's promotion and how they handle things there, as much as they did struggle and try to push forward. So that was really awesome. Um, there's been other stuff like with personal stuff, and this is something that I really look into a lot more, especially like with mental health. So it definitely gets into this
Mhm.
a lot. Especially with her brother, like dealing with drugs and like alcohol. I believe I'm not too sure, but there's a lot of that, especially with her own mental health. So going by
Right.
that, how did you feel about that being especially a big part of the movie?
Well, I was glad that they mentioned about the older brother because that's something that they could have left out. And when they do a lot of biography movies, they try to like leave out the really bad stuff, and try to show you all the good things to make it look like it's a better story than what it is. So I'm glad that they put that there too, because a lot of people can relate. A lot of people are struggling with mental health issues or substance abuse issues, and them putting that there, I think it was a really good move because you're actually seeing her story as true as it could possibly be. So I don't feel like, in terms of like, by the time the movie ends, I felt like we got the true story of her life. Obviously, they don't put every single detail, but I think they put all the major details, and that makes the movie much more relatable.
Yeah, I definitely would say that, and I like that because it's not just about her; it's also about a brother who also wanted to get into WWE, but she ended up getting a call first and everything. So I can see how it was a struggle for him, and he wanted to actually be there so bad and everything. But I'm happy he did end up finding a way out and being able to deal with training at home and stuff. So he found something else going for him, which is a really good thing in the end.
Right, because a lot of siblings, like for me, I'm the oldest out of six, and we
Mhm.
all have our own dreams and things that we want to accomplish or whatnot. But imagine if like two siblings have the same dream and one is able to accomplish that and the other one isn't. There would be jealousy, and that would cause issues with their relationship. And that was really interesting to see how before they got the call for them both to go to tryouts, how supportive they were of each other. And once Saraya was the only one to advance to WWE, you see the change in the brother. Like, he absolutely changed. He wouldn't answer her phone calls. He wasn't being supportive. He just was a completely different person. And I totally understand, you have a big dream, and to see someone else get the opportunity, it hurts.
Yeah, definitely does. Then after a while, we do obviously have her get the call to WWE, but dealing with the tryout on SmackDown. I believe at the O2 Arena at the time. So when they
Yeah.
traveled there, so um, I believe we did see The Rock there and being able to get some more advice and all that good stuff. That was before everything else that we'll get into a little later with WrestleMania, after all that.
Mhm.
How do you feel about like when she got the call and like with the advice with The Rock and stuff in the movie anyway?
The Rock gave the best advice, and this is what I tell people, whether it's professional wrestling or just real life. They were more concerned about like, how can we be like you? The Rock is definitely one of the most successful professional wrestlers of all time, and they kept asking like, how can we be like you? And his answer was right. You are you. Whatever it is that you do is what people's going to want to see. Don't come out there and try to be like The Rock, because people are not going to gravitate towards that. People are going to want you to be yourself. And if you're not yourself, people definitely are going to realize that you're trying to be something that you're not. So that's the best advice in life, period. Be yourself. Whoever loves you for yourself, those are the people that are going to support you, and those are the people you're going to want to be behind you in whatever it is that you do. So great advice.
Yeah, and that's what I like about him too. He's very honest about everything, and he was able to help her out. Then we fast forward a little bit more into with WrestleMania 30, going into the night after. Of course, Paige is able to make her debut, dealing with AJ Lee. For the
Hmm.
championship, definitely something one of my favorite memories for sure. I I think it's a given, like watching the movie and then watching that moment is like hand in hand with me. So I like that. That's kind of like
Right.
So how did you feel about that? Going back to it.
Right. When I look back at it, I kind of thought that was a really big move for them to have her win the championship. They must have put a lot of faith in her to give her that opportunity, which WWE don't do often. They often would, try to see how you do being on the roster for quite some time. And I think they saw something really special in her, and that gave her that opportunity to, get the Divas Championships. But what I thought was surprising, though, was to see Zelina Vega playing AJ
Mhm.
Lee.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I thought that was a bit of a strange choice, but in terms of ring work, I could see why they chose her. But she doesn't resemble her or anything.
Mhm. No, yeah, I think she did really well. I remember she was talking about that on a podcast, so that actually wanted me to watch the movie again.
Mhm.
So she did very well on that. And then beforehand, going back to Paige, like it showed with all of her training and everything beforehand, it actually really paid off, and she got the Divas title in her first night. So that's a really great accomplishment for her, definitely.
Yeah.
Mhm. I think getting into the next thing too, like another thing, like more with mental health, especially within the company, with her like dealing with acceptance and body image and all that. Before then, trying to like have herself be more herself, but that was a lot hard for her, and I can see why, which definitely sucked on that. But I'm happy she was able to pull through. And of course, we saw that a lot more in the training and everything. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that, like having her like find more of herself that way.
Right. So that part of the movie made me really emotional because I really related to that. Growing up in high school, being the black goth kid, it was tough because I felt like no one could really relate to me and the way I dressed. Nobody really bothered me about it, but after a while, I just felt like, oh my gosh, I'm not like the other girls, and I would probably have more friends. I would fit in more if I was like the other girls. So I stopped dressing the way I used to dress. I stopped listening to the music I listened to, and I tried to fit in. Ultimately, you realize that it's just better to be yourself. You're not going to be happy trying to be anyone else. So when she had dyed her hair blonde, I was like, oh my god, because um when I was in high school, I would experiment with colors, and when I see all the other girls just having regular hair with no colors, and I was like, you know what, maybe I should do the same. So what I ended up doing was I dyed my hair honey blonde. Actually, it worked for me
Wow.
during the time. Probably won't work now, but all the other girls, they liked it, and they would ask me to, oh, come over to my house. Oh, I'm going there after school. You want to hang out? And I noticed a change, but I wasn't happy because I wasn't myself. So when I saw that scene, I was like, wow. A lot of people can relate with this. And with her being at the performance center, pretty much being the only girl with actual experience with wrestling, the other girls, they were just models. They didn't know anything about wrestling. They got chosen because of the way they looked, or maybe they were athletic but not wrestlers. And I know she had a hard time trying to teach these girls, trying to work with them, because they just didn't know what to do. However, I think she was able to make it through that, and she found herself. And unlike all the other girls, she made it. So being yourself is the best way to go.
Yeah, and that also proved too, like I believe with all of that, she was actually very young at the time and actually being signed at 18. So being herself was really awesome for that. Helped her out a
Right,
lot.
right. Being so young, you don't you're
Yeah.
trying to still find yourself. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, and I almost forget how old she was when she did sign. That's really crazy.
Right. Super
Mhm.
young.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, Getting into that, we did get to see like over time, like we know how hard the schedule can be because they work a lot throughout the year. I know she was looking to go back home for a while, and that made her feel good about that. And I'm sure it was definitely hard for her, which we did see her missing her family and stuff like that, being on the road,
Right.
basically being by herself and trying to adjust. I wanted to get your thoughts too, like, and how that is for a lot of wrestlers, definitely.
Right, especially since her brother wasn't with her. I know she was lonely because I'm pretty sure they planned that they were going to make it together and be each other's support system while they were in Florida. And unfortunately, that didn't work out. I could
Mhm.
totally understand why she would be lonely and homesick. And the only thing that I was kind of surprised about was when she went back home, she was deciding that, she didn't want to go back to Florida. And I thought that's a huge slap in the face because one thing I realized watching this movie is the parents, while I don't think they forced the kids to get into wrestling, they definitely were able to kind of live through their kids living out their dreams of being professional wrestlers. So obviously her parents would have wanted to make it big. Her brother wanted to make it big, but she had the opportunity. And for her to just kind of feel like, you know what, I'm back home. I should just stay back home. Like that would have been the biggest mistake she could have made. And,
Yeah.
I'm glad she made it through that. I understand you get homesick and you want to go back home, but don't give up what you've been looking to get your whole life.
Yeah, exactly. And it seems like too, like she overcame like her struggles with anxiety and all that stuff. Her brother ended up
Mhm.
having a family and stuff. So they went through different stuff at different times and everything. So it looks like things ended up turning around, especially for the both of them, which I was happy about. But
Right.
that comes to like in terms like everything that I have on my end in terms of the review. I don't know if there's any like final thoughts that you did have for the movie.
Right. So, looking back at that movie and also knowing that Soraya had that pretty bad injury and
Yeah.
seeing where she is right now, like she has a lot to be proud of, a lot to be thankful for. And, I'm really glad that she was able to overcome everything she's overcome to get to
Mhm.
where she is in her career right now. She's won the women's championship at the All In pay per view in front of her fellow home countrymen. And I thought that was
Yeah.
so cool for her to get that moment. And I mean, looking back at that movie, you're just like, wow, just imagine years later where you can be. So, anyone who
Mhm.
has a dream, go for it. You just never know what's going to happen in the next few years.
No, yeah, definitely. That's definitely one of my favorite moments, and to be able to come back from injury like that, especially before she's had injuries before and everything. She's been through a lot, especially like with the manager role, to become a manager and everything. So she's definitely
Right.
a lot, and being able to see her in a different company in AEW. She's really handling her own, and it's really cool that she was able to go back home, but in AEW and dealing with a lot there. So she's just basically scratching the surface there. So it's really exciting to see where she's going to
Right.
go now with her now, but afterwards too.
Yeah, I see big things happening for her. I like where she is. I wish we could see her more in the ring, but I think they're taking time with her. Obviously, she hasn't been in the ring for how many years now? Was it like seven? No, I think six or something like that. So it's been a while.
Quite a
So
bit.
we've gotten a chance to see her for a handful of matches, and I think she just gotta work and getting in the groove of things or whatnot, and we'll be able to see better things with her. But I do like her part of the Outcast. I think it's a great fit for her, especially being with
Definitely.
Ruby Soho.
Yeah. But anyway, I think that is about everything when it comes to the movie review in itself. I definitely highly recommend everyone checking it out if you haven't already. Definitely one of my favorites. And is there anything that you would like to deal with, like promotion and stuff like that, before we officially end things?
Yeah, so I also recommend checking out the movie. It's a really great movie. I do think everything in the movie is pretty accurate. The only thing that actually wasn't accurate, I don't know if you caught this, was that when she joined, NXT was FCW, but I guess
Right.
for like copyright purposes,
Yeah.
they had to just stay with NXT. That was the only thing that wasn't accurate. But everything else it was cool, really great movie. So go ahead and check it out. Um, if you do want to see anything that I'm doing on my channel, you could just check out on YouTube. You can type in Wrestle Tati and you'll be able to find me on there. I'll definitely love to come back, Daphne, and review something else anytime.
Sure. Yeah, I definitely would like to have you back, and this was definitely fun. Definitely be on the lookout for her stuff and for mine, and see what happens with the next collaboration. But with that being said, this has been another episode of the In the Hot Seat podcast, and I'll catch everyone next time.
Bye.